client has one length cut. I'm going to take a section through the centre, and I'm going to clip some of the hair out of the way, but I'm going to leave enough that I can put a little layer in the bottom there. Works best with the hair being completely wet, so that you can do your nice neat sectioning.
To me, that's quite a big section, is it not? Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. The reason why it's a big section, same as when we're blow drying, if we were blow drying with a brush vertically,
Yeah.
we would have our section, we'd have a wide section, but we would have small sections
Yeah.
within it. So we're going to be cutting to layer it. We're
Got ya.
cutting in vertical sections, which is why it's a deep section. If we were cutting with your one length like you did horizontal sections, they would be quite narrow
Yeah.
sections. I'm going to tip him forward slightly, it's easier to get to. And then if I comb in that centre section, scoop my comb underneath, and if you can see this from the side, you'll see it's a 45-degree angle. Those of you that can't remember it from school will probably think, what is she on about? But I'll draw it on the board and it might come back to you. There's my guide. I don't want to cut any shorter than the guide that I already have in place, but I'm going to take this off. Now I've made a commitment there. That's my guide. I need to follow it. So my next section, I'm going to take a piece of the previous section cut.
Okay.
Same thing, but I move my body round ever so slightly. I still want to take that same angle, and can you see I've got a guide to follow there? So I need to move myself around the head because it's round. Follow the same guide, follow the same angle. You really want to keep your sections relatively small, because if you imagine, if you were trying to scoop the whole lot in, this would have travelled further and it would be longer. So we're trying to keep our sections small. I'm now going to go back the other way. You can hold it like this, if you prefer. See where you can see where the guide is, where you've already cut? Or you can hold it inside your hand. It's completely up to you, whatever feels most comfortable. This for me feels like you're twisting your whole body sometimes, but it depends. Sometimes you might work well on one side and differently on the other. Be careful if you do swap around though, because you need to make sure that that cut is consistent with what you're doing, which I'll find out in a minute. So we can check this now. If it's been cut vertically, we can cross-check it horizontally. So we can hold this out and see how exact it is. And move around the head. Now, if we've moved around enough, that should move around enough as well. Missed a tiny bit at the end. It felt a little bit like it was getting longer at that section there. That's where I swapped my hand over. So I might have to take a tiny bit off there. So already, I'm hoping that you can see it's just lightened it up ever so slightly there. It's just taken a little bit of that weight out. I don't want to do that through the whole of this style because I still want to keep it in that one length. And because of the shortness of this, it's what we call a bob, where it sort of sits above the shoulders. I don't want to get rid of that overall shape. I just want to lighten it slightly. So I'm just going to bring another section down just to make sure that it's all going to blend.
Have you gone just above the ear?
It's kind of halfway up, really, slight sort of curved angle there. Just bring in enough that I can just go through that layer. So what I want to do is really keep it at that 45-degree angle, but I want to keep it as long as possible on the top. So it might be that I have to take a bit off of this section and then not the next one. You'll probably find, those of you with heads that are longer, or the hair is longer on them, that you'll have less to take off, which means that it might not show quite as much.
I think this is my haircut.
Yeah?
This is probably what I usually do.
So this is the longest layer that we can leave on a haircut. When we do our other layered cuts, we'll be taking more weight out. We'll be bringing it out at a different angle. We'll either be bringing it out at 90 degrees or up at 180, and that's where we take more weight out of the hair. So this is the one that's going to take the smallest amount of weight out, but sometimes it's just what that client needs to make their hair sit right.
Sorry.
And hopefully your second heads will be with us shortly. They were supposed to be sending them out from the beginning of December because they've just had a new batch come in, because your next head that we're working on is where we're going to do the long graduation cut on. So each of your heads has got a haircut in purpose. So if I want to check my work again, you can hold it out horizontally. And this is what you'll get used to doing with all the cuts that you do, is whatever you cut horizontally or vertically, you'll cross-check it the other way to make sure the balance is right. So I'm just going to go up a tiny bit more because I'm wanting to make sure that it's going to blend into everything else that's going on. I can see it's slightly up there. So again, 45-degree angle, and I should just be able to take that off where it, can you see where it's now going to blend it into the length that's on the top there? Just about. So it's a tiny bit that I'm taking off of there, which means that it'll blend really nicely. Right there. So 45-degree angle. Making sure as well that you are coming straight out from the head, that you're not bringing it over in any way.
Is this cut more difficult on the longer one?
No. Sometimes we might do it on someone with really, really long hair, if they've got a one-length haircut, but it's very thick at the bottom. You just want to lift it a little bit so it's not just falling too thick. So the idea is that when it's blow dried, it's just going to sit a little bit rounded at the bottom. It looks like it's going to stick out at the moment, but it won't. Trust me. Could someone do a sweep and then I'll do a dry so you can see how it's going to look.
Shall I stop videoing now, yeah? Because you've cut it.
Yeah, and then we'll just take a picture of it at the edge.
Yeah.